election at 10 o'clock. It looks like it's got a minute. So we just have to sign this, and I have to read the results. It's Miss what's the other lady? Stephanie. She's here. Okay, I don't know. Hi.
Thank you, Mr. Mike Steinbach.
Okay.
Michael Berkshire.
Okay, how you doing?
Please. Just want to mention some things to the election commission,
Okay.
and we want to bring it to your attention.
Okay.
I'm going to give him the floor.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm Michael Berkshire. I'm an attorney at Collins and Lacey in Columbia, here on behalf of Mr. Eller. I understand from what I've been told that this is a very close election.
Yes, sir.
One vote and one write-in. So a vote of 137 to 136 with one write-in.
Yes, sir.
We also understand that the write-in was for Mr. J. David, who is a council, or who is a council person in District 5, who just by virtue of that is not eligible for this election. So he's not eligible to be the council person in District 3.
Correct.
I have authority that I'm going to show that vote should not be counted, because you have to, for a write-in vote to count, that person has to be eligible to actually serve in the election
Okay,
for
well,
state law.
okay, that's not even, okay, that's fine.
Sure.
They're not gonna count it anyway.
They're not going to count it? Well, you know,
No.
I would just say that, you know, in case if there's any question, 137 to 136,
Yeah.
the most votes wins, and that you should certify, respectfully say you should certify Mr. Eller.
Oh, well, I'm gonna certify the election, but after we certify, we'll tell you what's going on. Okay?
Sure, and I have this authority if there's any question. If you're not going to, you say that you have no intention of counting the write-in
No, not
in the
the
calculation.
No.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. Do we have to count the writing?
With the number would be counted, but as far as the name would have been, it wouldn't matter. It still counts as a vote. As far as our policy is concerned, that is a vote, which does affect the election, because now you got 137, Mr. Eller, you got 136, Ms. Mitchell, and you've got one a write-in. Regardless of who the write-in is, it would still count as a vote. Now, we could discuss as far as legally, you know, we'd have to talk to the election board.
Well, regardless of the policy under state law, that right, I mean, that's the purpose of me bringing it up.
Right,
That
I
write-in-
understand, yeah.
That write-in cannot be counted by state law. I mean, if somebody wrote in Mickey Mouse, it would have about the same effect.
But it would still count as a vote.
But it's not a vote under state law, you know, where under...
Is that something we need to refer to, maybe election, Susie?
And
Can
I
you
have-
give us some guidance with
Yes,
that, since you've done elections
And I
for
have
forever?
a document from the Election Commission on the uniform definition of what constitutes a vote, which talks about write-in votes. I have a copy.
Okay, but this guy, J. David, was running in this election just in another area, correct?
But it wouldn't matter
so it doesn't-
who the write-in was. We've had them write in Mickey Mouse, I mean, through my years, and I see what you're saying. But I'm just saying, does that still count as a vote
Well,
legally with an election?
when I talked with the state earlier, they told me it would still be a vote.
It would still be a vote?
I mean, that's what they told me.
But that's only if they're qualified. If they determine, and I thought I was going to walk in here and there was going to be a question about whether that person was qualified to serve in District 3.
It wouldn't
As
matter
it, but it
as a
doesn't.
write-in.
It does
I'm
matter
just-
as a write-in. You know.
Because they can write in anybody's name. They could have written in my name.
But the vote doesn't
It's
count.
still
if
gonna
it's-
Well, that's-
certify this election.
I see what you're saying with that, but I can't, I don't know.
Yeah,
hate to say that, but
I mean,
I'm-
per the State Election Commission, a person not qualified to be placed as a candidate on a ballot would also not be qualified to be a write-in candidate for that same office. The authority must determine whether the write-in candidate meets the qualifications for an office before votes for that candidate are certified. And from what, if the information I have is correct, I mean, you know, assuming that Mr. David is eligible to serve in District 5, he's not eligible to serve in District 3, so that vote can't be counted. I mean, in that, I mean, it can't be counted and determine who's the winner. It just has to be discarded.
Okay, but that's really, okay, but we're just gonna certify this
Sign
election.
and then do the.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
okay,
So we're just signing for the results we have.
Yes.
And then we'll go from there.
yeah.
All right, let me ask a question though. If you certify this election, I cannot protest, because there are some things that I will protest if there's not a runoff. And I've already talked to the election commission.
Yes, ma'am, but that's fine, whoever you talk to, well, we are gonna have, we're just gonna certify it and then we're gonna
Certify
tell
the
you.
But after certification, I cannot protest. Once the election has been certified, I cannot protest. I was not aware of this coming today.
Okay,
Because he told me that the vote counted because there were 3, you know, different candidates. Even, because, you know,
he told you that, you was trying to say that.
I didn't know, I was not privy to who the write-in vote was, because I didn't ask.
Well, I didn't ask you,
Yeah.
actually.
So I'm not sure about that, but, anyway, in our understanding, there were 3 people that were voted for. As you said, whether that had been Mickey Mouse or Jesus, that vote, that person's vote is counted unless we are throwing out that person's vote. So, I mean, there's been no discussion about throwing that vote out for that person, the individual who wrote that in. So, if you're gonna certify it and then they're going to determine that write-in vote is not eligible, that leaves me with no recourse to do anything about this election.
Well, if you have, you'll have a recourse, so,
I was told, once the election is certified, I cannot protest the results.
okay, so even if you didn't protest it, if there was a runoff, you wouldn't be interested?
If there is a runoff, yes, but he's trying to prevent a runoff.
You can't prevent a runoff.
Okay. If he can throw that vote out and show that there are 2 votes, he can prevent a
Okay,
runoff.
it's
I'm not trying to
two
prevent
votes.
anything. The law requires that vote to be thrown out, and the authority from the election commission, and respectfully, I mean, the certification has to be on the valid votes. I mean, you don't certify it and then sort it out later. I mean, it's,
But that's,
if there's a vote that shouldn't be counted, and if there's, somebody can't be a candidate if you're not eligible to serve.
and you only had one vote, that vote can't, you know, it's one vote. The count was Miss Stephanie 136, Mr. Eller 137. Okay, that
Right.
one didn't win nothing. I don't forgive it.
But what he's trying to say is he wants that vote thrown out so that it becomes 137 to 136, and Mr. Eller will prevail with the 50% plus 1. I'm strongly opposed to that because, you know, what if my vote was the vote that got thrown out? I have a right to my vote.
Yes, ma'am, we do. You do.
Only qualified candidates, only qualified votes can be counted. And regardless of any of that, I mean, 515-120B requires that the person receiving the highest number of votes in that ward shall be declared elected. I mean, I think it's your ministerial duty, you know, as the election commission here to declare Mr. Eller elected. And also to discard that write-in vote, you know, just in case if there's a question. I mean, if that write-in vote was for somebody who was eligible to be the Council 3 representative, it's a different story. I don't have anything to say about that. But we know, I mean, if there was a question about it, I would be asking.
Where did your guidance come from? Because with Susie calling the state and them saying that that's still counted, I'm trying to figure out,
Right from the election commission.
may I see what you
Sure.
have?
So you know about this?
When I talked with the state election commission this morning, they said that that the write-ins should be counted. So, I mean, that's all I have to do about it.
I think we need to talk to the state.
And I would also just point out, I only have one copy of this, 515 and 120B. When the councilmen are to be elected from each ward and are required to be residents of that ward, the person receiving the highest number of votes in that ward shall be declared elected.
That's right, and with our policy, it has to be 50% plus one, so that will be it, the total of the number of votes.
I'm saying the write-in
Right,
isn't
well, that's the
somebody
issue right
eligible in
now,
that
but that's
ward.
the issue right now, we just need to verify, because we've already told the state and they said yes. So we need to verify, don't you know,
I think so.
before we do anything.
Okay. We just need to,
You want to take a few minutes?
yeah, please, we
Okay.
gotta take a few minutes.
Sure.
Thank you. May I borrow this?
Oh, absolutely.
I probably brought one
If you,
more copy.
do you need another copy?
All right, guys.
John Catalano with the State Election Commission. I just want to make sure y'all know I'm not an attorney, but my understanding is that you would count all of the votes cast in the election, even for the write-in, that are not for one of the candidates or even for somebody in the county, still count that as a vote cast. So the total, it sounds like to me that the number of ballots cast in this election would be 274. In order to get majority, you need 138 votes.
Okay.
Can I say something?
This is the representative
Sure.
from one of the council members. May he ask a question?
Sure, I can do my best to answer it.
Okay.
Sure. Well, my name's Michael Bergstead. I'm I'm an attorney here on behalf of one of the candidates, and I have a document from the Election Commission, which I would maybe encourage you to talk to Harrison Brandt, the general counsel there. But if you look at the thing is uniform definition of what constitutes a vote, October 2018, talking about uniform standards for what constitutes a vote. It's a State Election Commission publication, number SEC POL 1100-2018-10. Section 6, subsection D, a person not qualified to be placed as a candidate on a ballot would also not be qualified to be a write-in candidate for that same office. The authority must, it cites an Attorney General's opinion, 1992-46. The authority must determine whether a write-in candidate meets the qualifications for an office before votes for that candidate are certified. Here, we know right off the bat that District 5 councilman can't serve in District 3. So I think that falls squarely under that guidance and under the law, that you can't count that in deciding the 50% plus one.
See, my understanding is that, again, it sounds like what I should do is jump off the phone and get Harrison in touch with y'all, but my understanding is that that person won't get it. It's still a valid cast, even if it's not for legitimate. Even if this person who can hold the office, it's still valid. That's cast by the voter who can cast I'm happy to get Harrison in touch with y'all, but I feel like from my understanding is that writing ballots count toward the total, all of the ballots cast. And still, that person will still need to get 138 votes in order to proceed. So like I said, I can get Harrison in touch with y'all. I can jump off the phone with y'all and get that, see if I can get him to give y'all a call as soon as possible.
I would request that. I mean, I think the stakes are important enough and the interest against having a runoff election that's just contrary to the law to get the general counsel of the agency looking at this issue.
Okay,
Y'all, I'll go ahead and jump off the phone if y'all want, and I can see if I can get Harrison over to you.
okay, is there a monetary process for that? Will we be charged for that service? I'm just asking, because I know he represents the election commission. Will there be a fee to discuss this with him?
I've never been told that there's a fee for him to
Okay.
call in real quick.
Okay.
I'll double check when I call someday.
Okay. Could you get on to call Susie's number? This number that, okay, you have this number, okay.
It's at 843-618-1152.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Okay. All right, Susie, thanks for y'all being patient. I'll jump off the phone and someone give you a call right back.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye. So we'll wait on the phone call, and we'll see before we certify the results.
Okay?
Thank you.
We're gonna wait.
Yeah, we're gonna wait.
That'd be okay.
On.
All right.
All right, and we're in the middle of certification. And we have a question, and I'm gonna let you talk with the election commission member, okay?
Say that you're in the middle of certification.
Yes.
How are we talking right now on speaker with just the commission?
No, we're on speakerphone in the courtroom. And one of the candidates has an attorney here, with them.
And
And,
they can on here as well.
yes, and we need some clarification because he has some paperwork about the write-in.
Yeah, I'll do my best to get you off some guidance, but as you know, I can't give legal advice to the board. They'll see that an attorney that you can call, either the county attorney or someone else. But
Okay.
that's it. Go ahead and I'll see what we can do.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Harrison, this is Shanna Berry. How you doing?
All right, how are you?
Good. We just need some clarification with a policy that's in the election commission notebook. We had a council election that the results were 137 to 136 and one write-in. And without the write-in, it would have been, a win for one of the candidates. But with the write-in, it made it, he only got 50% of the votes. However, he brought someone with him today with some paperwork from the book out of the election commission. And it's on page 3 from the definition of what constitutes a vote from October of 2018. Okay, are you familiar with where I'm at? Okay, and E up under there says, actually D, it says a person not qualified to be placed as a candidate on a ballot would also not be qualified to be a writing candidate for that same office. The guy that was written in was a candidate for another council seat for this election. So the question that we have is, does that vote still count, making it where we would have to have another special election? Or do we not count that vote because the man that was written in is not qualified to run?
Let me just see.
Okay,
What you're looking at says that he's a candidate in basically the wrong election. So voting the wrong one.
well, no, I mean, not necessarily, they just wrote him in. We're not saying they voted in a wrong district or anything, they just wrote him in, right?
From another election.
They wrote in the name of another candidate from another council, yes. Yeah.
So that kind of gets to illegal determination.
Yeah, because the way that's written, I'm not sure if, I've never thrown out a vote. I mean, you know what I'm saying, but seeing it there,
You're not throwing any votes out, it's just for purposes of calculating majority or,
right,
plurality in these situations, is whether or not it should be considered in the calculation.
yes, sir.
And, in the past, I think, I'm trying to remember elections, we talked to some, county boards that had qualified elections, and some of the votes were not counted for the majority, and some were. But I think they had to make a, case determination for each one of them, as to whether or not it should be counted. And, all I'd really say is that, I would follow the guidance that we have in that document, position what constitutes the vote, and go from there.
That's what we're trying to do, we're just confused on what guidance that's given, Sounds like it's very subjective to me, and it shouldn't be subjective. Like, do you count it or you don't count it? I mean, it's still a vote, but he's a candidate for another, he's got another office.
You're not disenfranchising someone if you don't count it. And I'm not telling you, don't do the thing if you don't count it. It's not that they're not being counted, they're just not, for purposes of that calculation, it's not being factored in. And then sometimes you get people that write it Mickey Mouse or whatever.
Yes, sir.
If you don't factor in Mickey Mouse, that would affect the calculation. You're not throwing out the vote of the person that wrote it Mickey Mouse punishment. It's just not being calculated.
So you're not really saying which way we should go with that?
I have to look at it. I'm getting all this done on the fly.
Right, I understand, yeah.
So I can't, I'm not sure that I can, as counsel for the agency, I'm not sure that I can tell you guys how to do it exactly. I wanted to do executive session, call your attorney or solicitor or something that's not going to work. You determine that he's not qualified, and that person is person who was not qualified for the election. Maybe we can.
Okay, all right. We appreciate your help, Mr. Harrison. Okay, thank you so much.
Something with the recount.
What now? Say that again?
What's about the recount, or we all resolved that?
Chris said not to do the recount, that we would be doing a runoff because of that one vote. Because of the writing.
We were trying to understand this earlier. Anytime you do a runoff, you still do the recount. You order the recount, then you order the runoff.
Well, he told me yesterday I wouldn't have to do the recount, that we would just be doing the runoff. See, I'm totally confused now.
Chris isn't here. I can't think of a reason why you wouldn't follow that and order the recount then do the runoff. If your recount changes something, that could affect whether there's a runoff.
Yeah, I could do the recount, I don't have a problem with that.
I think that y'all should do that first and then see if it's still an issue.
Okay, so do we need to certify these totals this morning or not?
Why wouldn't we just certify?
Will we certify them before the recount?
Why can't we just do the recount, then certify it at the change, call it a day?
Okay,
Okay?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, bye-bye. We need to meet first before we do anything again. Will you step in front of us?
Sure, can I just say something? You mentioned on the phone that it's subjective.
No,
It's whether to count that.
The way he was talking, he's kind of like, well, you can count it or you can't count it.
But I
And to
mean-
me, that's not.
But it's not subjective. It's
No, it
it's
shouldn't be
objective.
subjective.
And you
That's
don't have to take it from us because we
Right.
know that Jay David is the
He's already
council
a council
five. But I mean, look at his voter registration. Is he qualified? Is he qualified to run for
Yeah, no, we know
District 3 or
that, we're
not?
just
That's an
saying
objective
the way the
standard.
vote counts, yes.
So-
That's
so-
right.
So I think it's very clear under the law what you're required to do, which is to not count it, assuming that Mr. David is not qualified to vote, or to serve in District 3 as.
We're gonna take an executive session for just a few minutes just to discuss. If you'll give us about 10 minutes, okay?
Sure.
All right, back.
There's no way to know that that is J. David who was running. That could be anybody.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Can I say something? I mean, I
Yes.
actually agree. I mean, the write-in, under any construction of the law, just shouldn't be counted. It is, you have a duty here to count, that only the ballots for the people who are qualified to be elected can be counted. I've never in all my time heard of a runoff when it wasn't a tie. I mean, 515, 125, I believe, the statute here talks about a runoff in the result of a tie. There's no provision for a runoff in the result of a really, really close election. The winner should be certified. And, I mean, in this case, the statute I've already provided you, I mean, clearly, talks about, you have to declare, you're required by law to declare the person with the most votes the winner. I mean, in this, there's two candidates. It was very close. It was, and again, we're talking about this on the way over. I know that everybody's making their decision in good faith, and everybody's trying to do the right thing. But looking at the law, you have a duty to declare the person with the most votes, Mr. Eller, the winner, and also just secondarily, you have a duty to make sure that there's not a vote counted for somebody who's not eligible to. You can't count an ineligible vote in this calculation.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Valerie, do you want to speak?
No, you can.
Okay. All right, first of all, thank you for your patience, and, thank you for wanting to serve. Thank you for going through the process with us. After recounting at Susie's office at the election commission, the numbers were the same. So everything ended up being right. We've communicated with several people today from the South Carolina Election Commission, one of which was over with us in that office. We've also spoken with our city attorney, as well as others. And to say that to come to a decision is tough, it is, but we have to do what we feel like is the best decision, whether it be good for one or the other. And with that being said, every vote should count. We don't know if that's who that J. David is, and I understand, I'm not trying to be funny, but in order for us to be able to do this thing like it's supposed to be, we are going to certify the votes as they are today. And it'll be with Mr. Eller as 137 and Ms. Stephanie at 136, and we do have a write-in with one vote. So that is going to put him at having 50% of the votes, not 50 plus 1. So we're going to certify that today, and there will be a special election runoff on the 20th,
April 20th.
April the 20th, and we'll use the city and the county fire departments, 2 precincts.
Okay.
And we're going to sign. Oh, is that okay? I know you moved. That's okay. Is that all right?
Yes.
I'll just write it underneath.
Okay.
All right.
Dad, I'll do that.
That's okay. What is today, the 8th?
7th?
Today is the 8th,
Eight.
Thursday the 8th.
Okay. All right. That's up here for you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.